and welcome to Croke Park. Preparations are well underway for the big day. On Sunday, the winning captain from either Dublin or Kerry will be standing right here with Sam Maguire in their arms. Now to talk about the big game, I'm joined by Air Ambassadors Ciaran, Whelan and Tomás O'Shea. Tomás, when Kerry and Dublin have met in the last number of occasions, we've had offensive games, we've had defensive games. What are you expecting from this one?
I think with the way the game has gone, I think we're going to get defensive to a degree, but it won't be as defensive as the Northern teams play or Donegal play. I think it'll be open enough. You have probably the two best sets of forwards in the country facing each other. Obviously, Kerry and Dublin will be trying to snuff that out, but I think it'll be an open enough game. But I think people are thinking it'll be a great game of football, but it'll be a small bit tighter than that. It's win at all costs. It's an All-Ireland final. As I said, there's two sets of dangerous forwards and both teams will be doing their best to keep them quiet.
Ciaran, do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge tactical battle. I think that's the nature of finals. Both managers have had a chance to look at the opponent's strengths. Finals, you tend to get unsung heroes. Some of the key players will be targeted by the opposition and they mightn't be as prominent as they have been in the past. I don't think it'll be a shootout. I agree with Tomás. I think it will be a cagey enough affair. I think Kerry may fear the Dublin forward line and the pace and the accuracy that they bring to the table. I would expect their half forward line to maybe play a little deep, protect their defence and look to hit Dublin on the counter attack. But all in all, it's still going to be a very interesting battle. The two top teams, All-Ireland champions from the last 2 years, and it's really a very difficult one to call. You could probably talk about all the ifs and buts and the matchups all day, and it's only on Sunday here we'll see it all unfold.
Eamon Fitzmaurice said today that he felt the replay last year really made his team. They all got a run out and it made training great. Do you think you could say the same for Dublin?
Definitely the extra game helped Dublin. You could see the first game against Mayo, they were off the pace. There wasn't controlled aggression in the tackle, and they definitely improved between both games. But the downside from a Kerry perspective is that Eamon Fitzmaurice has been sitting up there for the last two weekends, and he's got a good chance to review Dublin and look at Dublin's strengths. And I think from a Dublin perspective, Dublin are predictable in the way they're playing.
Given Paul Geaney's form in the semi-final, are you expecting any changes in the forward line?
I suppose it's the biggest question that's going to be asked this week is whether Kieran Donaghy starts or Paul Geaney starts. Personally, I think he should probably go with Donaghy. I think Paul Geaney coming in against Tyrone, he did make a big impact. He's supposed to be going very well in training. But I suppose, all year Kerry have been spoilt with choice of about 7 or 8 forwards, very like Dublin, who have Kevin McManamon knocking on the door constantly as well. But I think he will go with Donaghy. It's the major talking point down in Kerry. Ciaran has been struggling, I suppose, to find the form he finished up with last year, but he's still a key player. He could still do something huge on a given day. Dublin did cope well with Aidan Shea inside at full forward in the semi-final, so they won't be afraid of a big man inside there. But if the right ball goes into Donaghy, he's always a danger, and I'd start with him.
From a Dublin perspective, are you expecting Jim Gavin to make any changes from the semi-final?
I don't think so. Obviously the one concern is Cian O'Sullivan, and he was crucial in closing down Aidan O'Shea. Very good sweeper, closes down the angles well, very smart footballer, so he will be a loss for Dublin if he's not in there. The other big call, I suppose, is in the middle of the park. Michael Darren Macaulay or Dennis Bastick. It worked well, the balance worked well the last day. Dennis Bastick came off after 15 minutes. Michael Darren Macaulay came in very energised for that last 20 minutes. Jim Gavin might go the same. Dennis Bastick playing a holding role, let's Brian Fenton express himself as a footballer, and he done very well in the semi-final, so it'll be interesting. Obviously midfield is going to be a crucial battle in this game. Kerry are perceived to have the upper hand. I think that might be slightly overhyped, and I think in the modern day we're seeing midfield being bypassed by short kickouts, but I do think that Dublin can fight above their weight in that area, which could be crucial to the outcome.
We got a lot of shouts on the RGA website about midfielders. Brian Fenton, for the age of him, is unbelievable, playing midfield beside Macaulay. He fits in so well, shouted Niamh Byrne. And then from Kerry, David Moran has an engine like a Ferrari. He's an inspiration to the youth of the county, said John Shukru. What do you think? How do you think midfield is going to go, Tomás?
I agree with what Ciaran said in that people think that Kerry will get the long ball out and they'll dominate midfield. I don't think that's a given. I think Kerry have been performing very well there at midfield. I think they will try to force Cluxton to kick at least half his kick outs out long, and I think the middle 8 is key. whoever gets the grips there, because Keely will be kicking long as well, and it is all about those breaks and whoever gets possession. I mean, how do you stop both sets of forwards? You try to limit the amount of ball that goes in. Both sets of forwards, if there's ball going in directly and quickly, they will do damage.
Is Stephen Cluxton 100% fit, Ciaran?
Yeah, I think he is. I think there's been too much made of, you know, because he hasn't been taking the long frees earlier on in the year. Dean Rock's accuracy in front of goal was top class. Stephen obviously took a couple in the first game and he just maybe out of touch in terms of kicking them here in Croke Park. I think he proved the last day, he upped his performance. Every brilliant, great player is entitled to have a down day, and he might have had a slight off day the first day. He's still very important to Dublin. I know the kickouts is going to be a huge strategy. I think he might try put a couple of long ones down on Paul Flynn and Dermot Connolly, and because I think Dublin, if Kerry's half forward line is going to drop deep, Dublin have to put Kerry on the back foot, and likewise from Brendan Keely's kickouts, I think if Dublin can win breaks, they can get at the Kerry defence and run at them.
And remember, you can keep playing our Championship Challenge quiz on the Air GAA website to be in with the chance of winning some great prizes, including a weekend away in Westport. Do you think that, given Jim Gavin and Eamon Fitzmaurice are both managers that you associate with tactics, do you think either of them are going to pull a rabbit out of the hat on the big occasion?
I'm not sure. I suppose with Kerry, you have, I mean, I even saw on the papers today where Eamon Fitzmaurice was talking about Tommy Welsh and Paul Galvin, and apparently both of them are going well in training. Now, look, going well in training and playing in an All-Ireland final after not playing a lot of the championship is a big ask, but Fitzmaurice does play guys on form, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Tommy Welsh made an appearance on Sunday. You know, if Donaghy was in there and if Tommy Welsh was in there, and look, they did it against Mayo last year in the semi-final where their backs were to the wall and they needed something, and Donaghy pulled it out of the sky. So look, these options are here. With Fitzmaurice, you actually don't know. You know, he's hard to call. I mean, he could drop anybody, he could start anybody, he could bring in anybody, and there's a kind of an unpredictability, but he seems most times he comes out on top with them, so you'd have to trust him. But I suppose Tommy Welsh would be the one I'd be watching out for particularly. Yeah. And
from the Dublin point of view, should we expect any big surprises from Jim Gavin, Ciaran?
I don't think so. As I said, that's probably a weakness maybe within Dublin, that they are a little bit predictable, and probably their three subs obviously will be Alan Brogan, Dennis Bastick or Macaulay, whoever starts, and Kevin McManamon. I think Kerry will be ready for Kevin McManamon. He's the last two big games here against Kerry, he's rattled that net, and I think Fitzmaurice will have somebody target him when he comes in. So Dublin maybe don't have that little bit of strength and depth. Kerry might have 5 or 6 options off the bench, where Dublin may be limited to 3 or 4. Tommy Walsh will be a concern. Obviously, he hasn't played all year. People are surprised he hasn't played all year, so Dublin don't know a whole lot about him, and he could be a big danger if he comes in, if he's put in the full forward line or wherever he comes in. So Kerry have those options, and Dublin are going to have to be prepared. Dublin are going to have a couple of plans defensively, depending on how Kerry set up their forward line.
Now, it's the last game of the season, unless it's a draw, so the Air prediction, win, lose or draw, is still up for grabs. Both of you can still win it, so if you were to call it, Tomás?
Well, I suppose it's kind of predictable enough what we're going to say. I'm going to go for Kerry. I think if they do perform, there's a lot of ifs. There's so many key areas around the pitch, but I'd have to trust Fitzmaurice. I think tactically he's a clever guy, and I think I'm going to go over to Kerry anyway.
Ciaran?
I might go for Kerry, you never know. No, obviously, stick with the heart and go with Dublin. I think Dublin's firepower up front. I think they can break even in midfield. I think defensively they've learned from previous years, and if they protect the goal, they don't let Kerry get smart balls in behind their defence. If they can cut down on Kerry's goal chances, I think they might have enough firepower up front to get through just about.
So that's it. We'll be back Monday with some post-match reaction. My thanks to Ciaran and Tomás for joining me. Enjoy the game.